Most gardeners never realize how loudly their plants speak: the quiet curl of a leaf, the faint blush of purple under a stem, and the way roots cling or retreat beneath the soil. These tiny details reveal everything about what's happening underground. And once you learn to read these signals, your garden becomes predictable, manageable, and even enjoyable in a whole new way. Today on Crop Corner, I'm breaking down the 3-zone check professional growers use to diagnose hidden soil problems in under 3 minutes using nothing more than your eyes, your hands, and a little bit of awareness. No gadgets, no meters, no complicated tests, just pure plant intelligence. The reason this method works so well is simple. Soil problems don't hit all parts of a plant at once. They follow a pattern, moving from leaves to stems to roots depending on the type of stress. That means you can identify the problem early, long before the plant collapses. So, let's get straight into the first and most revealing zone. Leaves are always the first to reveal trouble because they respond directly to nutrient movement inside the plant. When you see symptoms on older lower leaves first, the plant is cannibalizing mobile nutrients from older tissue to support new growth. That's your warning that nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, or magnesium may be running low. If the entire leaf gradually transforms from a rich green to a faded yellow, nitrogen is almost always the culprit. When older leaves turn purple or reddish beneath, that points toward a phosphorus uptake issue, which is common when the soil stays cold or overly compacted. But when symptoms appear on young fresh leaves at the top of the plant, the story changes completely. That's where immobile nutrient deficiencies show up: calcium, iron, manganese, boron, and zinc. Calcium stress is especially unforgiving, leaving crisp brown edges or even killing off the newest growing point. Iron issues, on the other hand, create a striking pattern where the leaf turns yellow but the veins stay bright green, almost like a grid laid across the surface. This usually means either iron deficiency or soil pH, drifting too high for proper nutrient movement. Color patterns matter as much as leaf age. Brown, crispy edges usually point to potassium. Pale foliage across the entire plant can indicate sulfur deficiency or a pH issue that locks out multiple nutrients at once. Once you understand that leaf position equals nutrient type, you can diagnose problems almost instantly. After the leaves give you your first clues, your next stop is the stem. Stems act like a bridge between what's happening above and below the soil, and the condition of that bridge tells you where the real problem sits. A stem that grows thin and weak, even though the leaves look healthy, often means the roots are struggling to push downward. Compacted soil, shallow watering habits, or just poor aeration can really limit root expansion and leave the plant unable to support itself. And, if you notice purple streaks along the stem, that's another classic sign of a phosphorus uptake issue, especially in early spring when cold soil slows nutrient flow. Split stems are usually a sign of inconsistent watering, like those long dry spells followed by sudden heavy watering. The plant expands too quickly, then contracts again, and that causes these tiny microscopic tears that eventually crack the outer stem. One simple test that professionals rely on is the gentle bend test. A healthy stem bends and rebounds, but if a stem snaps easily, it means the plant has been under long-term stress, usually from root damage or chronic nutrient issues. Growth rate is another overlooked clue. If the plant looks healthy but just barely grows, the issue is almost always underground. On the other hand, if the plant grows normally but still shows symptoms, you're probably dealing with a pH or nutrient imbalance. Now, the final zone is the one most gardeners, honestly, tend to avoid: the roots. But, roots never lie. Even just a quick 6-inch dig beside your plant can give you a really clear picture of what's actually happening underground. Healthy roots usually appear pale tan or bright white, and they have this fresh, earthy smell. They should branch out evenly, with plenty of those delicate root hairs. But when you notice roots turning brown or black and feeling mushy, well, you're probably dealing with rot, which is often caused by poor drainage or chronic overwatering. If you see roots suddenly forming a flat line instead of penetrating downward, that's a pretty clear signal that the soil beneath them is too hard or compacted. And roots that are forced sideways instead of downward, honestly, tell you exactly where the soil becomes too dense. Sparse or thin root systems, they usually point to biologically inactive soil, often the result of repeated synthetic fertilizer use that suppresses microbial life. Orange-tipped roots reveal iron buildup from soggy conditions, and grayish roots may indicate sulfur issues or, sometimes, extremely acidic soil. If you're checking container plants, circling roots tightly wrapped along the pot walls show that the soil is too compact or low in structure. Roots will always choose the easiest path, and when the center stays empty, it means the inner soil is too dense or oxygen poor for healthy growth. Once you've read all three zones, correcting the issue becomes surprisingly simple. Nutrient deficiencies respond quickly to targeted feeding when you apply the right formula. For nitrogen deficiency, dissolve 1 teaspoon of liquid organic nitrogen fertilizer in 1 gallon of water and drench the soil thoroughly. For calcium correction, mix 1 teaspoon of calcium nitrate into 1 gallon of water and apply at the base of the plant. For iron deficiency, use a chelated iron solution at a rate of 1 teaspoon per gallon of water and apply either as a soil drench or a light foliar mist. But structural soil problems, compaction, hard pan layers, poor drainage, require slower, deeper solutions. No liquid feed will overcome heavy, airless soil. That's when you rebuild with compost, humus, aeration materials, and organic matter to restore structure and microbial life. You fix the foundation first, then follow up with nutrients. Turning the 3-minute check into a daily habit. Once you train your eye to read leaves for the what, stems for the how, and roots for the why, diagnosing plant stress becomes second nature. This simple 3-minute routine can transform your entire garden experience. Instead of reacting to problems after they spread, you catch them early, respond quickly, and grow with confidence. If this guide helped you see your plants through a sharper lens, make sure you subscribe to Crop Corner, share this video with a fellow gardener, and stay tuned for more evergreen growing wisdom. Let's keep growing smarter together.